I'm Greg Rugen, and welcome to What's Your Point, where our panelists call it like they see it. Let's greet them. Starting us off, attorney and conservative commentator Gary Polland. Next up, longtime Houston journalist and social worker Chow Win. In the 3 spot, lawyer and political commentator Nyanza Moore. Batting cleanup this morning, Bob Price, associate editor of Breitbart, Texas. And closing us out, education and public safety advocate Paul Castro. Let's begin.
We're fighting to protect the health care of the American people, to strengthen it, and to stop Republicans from continuing to gut it in ways that they've been doing all year.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries defending the decision by Democrats, particularly Senate Democrats, to shut down the American government rather than to fund all operations under a continuing resolution previously approved in the lower chamber. Clearly, progressives are rolling the dice in a risky wager that Americans will back their play. So far, Republicans, including the president, have refused to blink.
They have made a decision that they would rather give taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens than to keep the doors open for the American people, to keep vital services, veteran services, health care and nutrition for women, infants, and children. They would rather not pay the troops and TSA agents and Border Patrol agents. They would rather stop services of FEMA in the middle of a hurricane season than to do the right thing for partisan political purposes. It is selfish, it is reprehensible.
Okay, panel, we've all heard about the intramural battle going on here with Senate Minority Leader Schumer feeling heavy pressure from the AOC wing of the party to put up a fight, even a losing one. Paul Castro, what do you think of what's going on?
Yeah, so interesting framing, first of all. So the Republicans control the executive, both branches, and the Supreme Court. So this is a Republican government right now. The fact is that illegal immigrants don't get Medicare, Medicaid. They do get emergency care, right? And that's the one area where that happens. The even Republican voters, so YouGov.com polled people, or even Republicans said by a 2-to-1 margin that they think that the reason Democrats are holding out is funding for Medicare, Medicaid, and ACA. Regardless, this is terrible politics by the Democrats. This is not the issue to fight on. Why? Because it's so easy to reposition, to frame it as an immigrant issue. What they should be talking about exclusively is Epstein and the tariff taxes. That's it. Those are 2 highly unpopular things from the American public. And if those are the things they message, it's better for them. But they can't do that.
All right, Bob, do you want to rebut anything that Paul said, or how do you see this unfolding? Usually those who shut down the government get blamed for everything bad that happens.
Well, first off, illegal immigrants do get health care, and it is paid for by the federal tax dollars. And so when these hospitals are forced to provide these services, they seek reimbursement from Medicare, Medicaid, and that's where this money is. They're talking about $1.2 trillion of new spending that they want to stick back in there to support the failing Obamacare issues. So, Hakeem Jeffries would, rather than talk about the issues, he would rather get all upset because President Trump decided to make a joke and put the sombrero on him and play the mariachi music and all of this kind of stuff. And they've been calling us Nazis and fascists and authoritarians and getting the president as a candidate shot with their verbiage and rhetoric, but they can't take a little joke about a sombrero as they're trying to provide money for illegal aliens at taxpayers' expense. This is exactly the same resolution that was passed just a few weeks ago by Chuck Schumer and the Senate and the Democrats, but now because of the pressure from AOC, they're succumbing to that and trying to stand up.
All right, Chow, I'm going to give you an opportunity to chime in here.
I'm going to respond with dignity and respect, but the inside of me is on fire over that. Bob, with all due respect, let's not make this into a race game. That is very racist. That is a very racist piece of prop that you brought on the morning show, and it's only 7 in the morning. When we start mocking our fellow colleagues on the political level like that, what kind of message are we sending to children, to American people? That this is funny, that Americans who are tens of millions who benefit from ACA, and Medicare and Medicaid think this is a funny issue. No, this isn't a funny issue. This is about their livelihoods. And I think this is an issue to stand firm on. I really do believe that Americans truly care about health care because it's their humanity we're talking about. It's their dignity, it's their livelihoods.
So I've been doing some research here. Number one, we don't leave people on the side of the roads, and somebody ends up paying for that ultimately. Right. I'm not saying that that would happen even if we did cut funding for illegal alien, undocumented immigrant health care. You know, we can talk more about that. Nyanzi, you've been listening to this conversation. You know, look, the Affordable Care Act was bumped up, subsidized during the COVID era, and folks want to see those subsidies remain.
See, I feel like because there's a difference in the marketing on the Republican side is saying, hey, you want us to continue giving money to illegal immigrants who are coming here using our healthcare system. And Bob correctly did say that if you come here and you're not a citizen and you have an emergency, the hospital is going to take you in and care for you. When you fill out those forms, if you don't have insurance and you put nothing, where is the bill going to? And so if you have an American citizen who has emergency care, they have an address that they can send an invoice to. So you have a lot of Americans who are thinking, I'm barely making it on my own. My insurance premiums are through the roof. I am on the Affordable Care Act, but if I'm under the ACA and it's just for Americans, then who is picking up the bill when it's an emergency service? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't give emergency aid to people who are here illegally. However, how much financially are we providing for undocumented people to receive medical care? It's not a good thing to turn away anybody who needs help. To the flip side of that, I understand why Hakeem Jeffrey and Chuck Schumer try to hold the line, because they have failed to hold the line previously. And Hakeem Jeffries, I'm been disappointed in his action when he voted for the big, beautiful bill. If he was ever going to take a stand where he wanted to act like he was such the Democratic stalwart, then he should have taken a stand a long time ago. Don't flip-flop and all of a sudden, oh, we're fighting for the people. And I'm sorry, the Mexican sombrero thing, I didn't get it. So I didn't understand it. So when I saw it, I thought, is this real? I saw a clip of the meeting between Hakeem and the president with the hats on the table. I thought he was just being funny. And so when I saw the sombrero, I thought it was a meme. Maybe I should have been affected. Maybe I should have thought it was racism, but I missed the racism card.
Coming from the White House.
All right, Hey, we're going to hear from Gary Polland in the next block. Still to come, a crackdown on Houston's chronic squatters moves from mere words to concrete action. But up next, we continue our discussion of shutting down the world's greatest democracy and which side is likely to suffer most in the eyes of voters when the dust settles.
Donald Trump and Republicans have barreled us into a shutdown because they refuse to protect Americans' health care.
They want to have an entire debate about our health care system and do it within 24 hours. So the responsible adult thing to do is, of course, to leave that to another time. That's a very serious policy debate that we've had for years. Not try to jam us and shut down the government, harm the American people, and then try to spin it like it's Republicans' fault. It is the epitome of gaslighting on the Democrats' part. There is no way they can spin this. They definitely own this very unpopular shutdown.
Democrats are also demanding to extend the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies, which is really Obamacare on steroids, which don't even expire until the end of this year. Shutdowns don't benefit anybody. And the same problem that caused the government to shut down is there staring you in the face when government is reopened.
And there you have it, panel, as we continue our discussion of the ongoing government shutdown, which includes massive furloughs at NASA in our part of the world. Gary, you heard the A-block discussion.
Yeah, first of all, the idea that the Republicans control the government is a joke. You know, in order to pass things in the Senate, you need 60 votes. We don't have 60 votes. That's why they didn't pass the continuing resolution. In the House, the Republican margin is like 4, but ideologically it may be 0 because there are Republicans who don't agree on things just like the Democrats. So that's just not accurate. what is accurate is that the Congress, both sides, they act like children. They can't agree to disagree. I think that Crenshaw is right. I think they should be talking, and I think there is major problems with our healthcare system. They remain. Obamacare did not answer the problems, and the country's still going broke. $37 trillion in debt. We're going to spend $1 trillion minimum a year on interest on the debt. So we need serious people to go to Washington. What I find increasingly happening, and we have some people on both sides, they're just not serious. They're up there grandstanding, they're up there getting clicks, they're trying to get popularity, and they're not trying to deal with the problems and issues the country has. So you want to talk about health care? Let's have a major debate about health care and where we should go and what makes sense.
Paul, how much credence do you get to the suggestion that Schumer is afraid AOC is going to primary him in New York, and he's feeling lots of pressure from the so-called left wing of the Democratic Party to fight? Although here in Texas, when Democrats eloped on 2 different occasions, they ended up losing anyway. Is this just worth a fight?
Yeah, well, they lost and they raised a ton of money. So part of this is what they're looking for is a leader to say something, right? If Schumer came anywhere in the United States to give a speech, nobody would care. Nobody would show up. AOC and Bernie Sanders show up, they sell out entire, 18,000 seat arenas. So what people are looking for is someone with a message who can say something that's coherent, right? And right now, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are terrible. He should be primaried. He should get knocked out. He's a terrible leader. He doesn't know how to organize his troops or, communicate a clear message. Again, Democrats are not playing good politics. Everything they're saying is true around healthcare is going to go through the roof. So they've already done, they've run the numbers. When ACA expires, by the way, if the Democrats take over the House, it's going to be blamed on them. But when the ACA expires at the end of this year, healthcare costs for everyone is going to go up remarkably come January, right? That's going to happen because the subsidy that's underpinning all of that's going to go away. But that's a complicated issue, and 90% of American taxpayers can't see that yet. They don't worry. They're just like, oh, that's going to get taken care of later, right? And that's not true. That's not what's going to happen. And so, but we're not going to pay for it until later. And so for that reason, it's a terrible political position to take. All they should be talking about are the Epstein files and tariffs. Those are 2 concrete issues that people are very unhappy about. That's where they should be hitting.
Bob, I got 20 seconds.
So I was in the Air Force in the 70s when we had a government shutdown, and the troops did eventually get paid. We made it through it okay. Soldiers and airmen sailors that have emergencies can get funds that they need from Red Cross and other social service agencies in the area. The Democrats have given the president a lot of power here to not only furlough employees, but permanently cut them, lay them off, fire them, and close down some agencies that will require new legislation to put them back on the books.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Up next, a Come to Jesus speech aimed at America's top warfighters. More on the campaign to harden those at the tip of the nation's sword on the other side of this break.